Everyone knows them, the so-called trail nomads, setting out to travel the entire world with nothing but a backpack, a tent, and a few dollars. That exact idea became my trigger to try something similar myself, to create an entire film using literally just a single image and a handful of words. My backpack for this journey was Nano Banana Pro for images, my tent was Kling 2.6 for video, and the handful of dollars were simply a few thoughts and ideas turned into prompts. And of course, audio matters too. My hiking boots here were Suno for music and 11 Labs for sound effects. But before breaking all of that down, let's first watch the one image to movie film itself. Its title is Abandoned Ship. How I actually built it and what triggered the idea comes right after. For now, just enjoy the film.
This is the Interplanetary Reconnaissance Vessel Guardian 1. Mayday, Mayday. Does anyone receive this message? Mayday, Mayday.
Falling quiet through the haze. Heat on steel, no words remain. Silent drift, no guiding hand, only dust beneath the flame. We touch down where answers die. Engines fade, the wind arrives. Every step feels borrowed time. Nothing here is meant to last. Hands reach out then hesitate. Systems speak but tell no truth. Every choice is closing doors. Every fix is breaking through. Night turns on the dying lights. Cold machine still breathing slow. Morning comes without a sign, as if we were never here. Years collapse into the storm. Rust remembers what we made. Steel gives in the frame, let's go. Time erases every name. Abandoned
The plan for this through hike actually formed while I was spending some time inside Runway and stumbled across a surprisingly interesting feature. Under apps, it's called story panels. The idea is simple. You show the AI one image and ask it to continue the story visually. Having your thoughts structured as a solid prompt definitely helps. The result you're seeing here immediately caught my attention. Style, color, and narrative fit together remarkably well. My next question was this: how does Runway actually do this? What system is running underneath? As it turns out, this isn't a Runway AI model at all. It's a Google model, Nano. Even the costs are shown directly in the interface. I strongly assume this is Nano Pro, even though an older model name still appears there. And that led to the next thought: why generate Nano Pro results on an external platform if I'm already paying for the Google AI Pro plan with direct access to Google Flow? So the next step was obvious. I moved over to Google Flow and used a grid-based approach to build a complete storyboard for this project. Let's now build the film together. The first thing we need is that single image I mentioned earlier. In this example, I generated the starting image in Midjourney using the prompt Desert Icebreaker, concept, art, design. Why Midjourney? Because in my experience, it still delivers the most visually and scenically well-defined results overall. Step 1, complete. Now it's time to put your brain to work and come up with a story. In my case, as you've just seen, it was the emergency landing of a spaceship on an abandoned desert planet. This is step 2. Define the words that describe your individual scenes. But don't worry, you don't need to be a storyteller. A rough storyline and a clear plot are more than enough. Everything else is handled by the LLM of your choice. In my case, that's ChatGPT. I defined around 20 scenes using just a few short phrases. The task for ChatGPT was simple. Refine my thoughts and describe a coherent visual sequence so that Nano Pro can turn it into a 20-panel grid. It's a good idea to run through a few iteration loops and adjust the prompt to your needs, mainly to eliminate potential misinterpretations or unwanted settings. You can see how your through-hike gear slowly comes together. In step 3, we take the starting image and the prompt over to Google Flow. Log in, create a new project, then select Create Image at the bottom. Upload your starting image from step 1 and paste the long prompt from ChatGPT into the prompt field. On the right, open the settings icon and choose the Nano Pro model. Set the aspect ratio to 16:9 and select the number of outputs. I usually go with 4 to have a solid range to choose from. As you can see here, image generation costs me nothing. Then just hit Generate in the bottom right. And this is the result. Genuinely impressive, with very strong color and style consistency. The really great part is that you're not limited to a 3, 6, or 9-panel grid. You can tell the AI exactly how many scenes you have and let it generate a matching storyboard. And this is where things get interesting. Go into the editor, select a specific image, and use the following prompt. Enlarge only the marked image to full screen. Do not change any visual properties. It must look exactly the same as in the grid. After a short moment, you'll get that exact frame in full resolution. This allows you to make very deliberate selections without lengthy descriptions. It becomes especially useful if you've generated more than one 20-panel grid. Repeat this process until you've extracted all the images you need for your film. Done. There is one small limitation though. In some images, the AI adds extra details to visually enrich the scene. But if we look at this example, you'll notice tire tracks in the sand that simply couldn't have happened when you think about the actual sequence of the film. This is where you need to compare the images carefully and apply corrections using a Nano Pro edit prompt. In this specific case, the task was fairly simple. Remove all tire tracks and wheel marks from the sand surface. But be careful here, intentional elements like footprints need to stay, otherwise the scene starts to feel wrong as well. That's why you should extend the prompt with something like keep the footprints of the 2 astronauts fully intact and unchanged. If you ignore this step, chances are high that the video generation will fall apart later on. Kling will try to reconcile differences between start and end frames, and if tyre tracks suddenly appear where none existed before, the result will most likely be unusable. Now comes step 4, animation. And honestly, this part is relatively simple. We're essentially just telling Kling 2.6, this is our start frame and this is our end frame. To do that, head over to klingai.com, click Experience now in the top right corner. Then either choose Video from the left navigation or Video Generation from the center row. Usually the latest model is already selected. If not, click the drop-down next to AI Video Generator at the top and choose Kling 2.6. Disable native audio right away. In many cases you don't need it, and turning it off saves you about half the cost. If you do want sound, use it deliberately. Make sure Image to Video is selected. Below that, upload the start image on the left and the end image on the right. The prompt field is optional. But if you want to add more life to the scenes, you can enter an additional prompt, including audio cues if you like. Personally, I'm not a big fan of fully automated results, even though they can save time. Instead, I gave every transition a very specific character through wind, motion, and dynamics, which significantly enriched the overall atmosphere. Just keep in mind there is a character limit here. Based on my tests, it's around 5,500 characters, though that may change. Next, if you're working with start and end frames, this currently only works in professional mode. Right next to that, set the clip duration to either 5 or 10 seconds. Since we're working with start and end frames, and Kling already has strong guidance, using 10 seconds can sometimes make sense. For output, I select 1, simply to avoid burning credits unnecessarily. Something can always go wrong. Then click Generate. That's your first clip done. In this example, I repeated this process several times. Next comes step 5, editing the film. There are plenty of tools you can use for this: Shotcut, CapCut, Filmora, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro. My personal choice is Adobe Premiere, with Adobe After Effects for more detailed refinements. Once that part is done, the film itself is essentially finished. There's just one problem left. It's completely silent. First, we turn to the music. This is step 6. There are plenty of platforms out there, but my go-to choice is Suno. It can literally generate strong musical pieces at the press of a button. If you don't want to stick to instrumental tracks only, you can define the lyrics with ChatGPT beforehand. Going into all of Suno's features would take us too far here, but overall it's quite user-friendly. If you want a deeper dive, I've covered it in a dedicated tutorial some time ago. Then there's voiceover and sound effects. Again, there are many providers to choose from. Once those elements are ready, we return to the editing software and place music, voices, and sounds precisely into the sequence of scenes. And that's it. The film is finished. As you can see, this is how an entire movie can emerge from a single image and a handful of ideas. One thing that really stood out to me as a key lesson is this: when you use both a start frame and an end frame, and the end frame contains elements that aren't present in the start frame, but look visually similar, overall, the AI has a strong tendency to morph things into existence. Tyre tracks in the sand are a perfect example. In cases like that, using only the start frame can actually work better, because the AI often produces a cleaner and more consistent finish on its own. Another important point is how sensitive some AI platforms are to specific wording. Terms like ascends upward, disengages, or breaks formation are basically useless. Simple instructions like flies to the right or flies to the left work far more reliably. The same goes for words like around. They often cause objects to rotate around themselves instead of the camera moving. In those cases, it's much safer to explicitly say the camera rotates. If you want transitions that feel believable instead of vague in-between motion, you need to invest some time in fine-tuning. It would be a shame if the visual experience were undermined by strange, unexplainable movements, or morphing. Without careful adjustment of the images beforehand, achieving a truly solid video result becomes much harder. One last thing about timing: most of my 10-second clips simply didn't work. Even with clearly defined prompts, the AI tends to invent things when given too much time. 5-second clips, on the other hand, were often almost perfect. I burned through a lot of credits learning this the hard way, and even timestamp prompting didn't really save me there. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Your channel, AI Now You Know.